story based on the thing. Marcus Devereux was no ordinary man. At just 38, he was one of the most successful black entrepreneurs in the country, having built a tech empire from nothing. With charm, charisma, and a tenacious mind, he had everything money could buy except trust. Too many people had used him, lied to him, smiled to his face while scheming behind his back. So when he began to suspect someone in his inner circle was leaking company secrets and plotting to take him down, Marcus devised a risky plan. He would disappear without dying. He would fake a coma after a staged car accident, giving him a front-row seat to the people in his life when they thought he couldn't hear them. Doctors, family, business partners, and even his so-called fiancée came to visit. Some cried, others plotted. His brother argued with his lawyer about the will. His COO made mysterious phone calls. It was worse than he thought. But it wasn't until day 11 that someone truly unexpected cracked him. Nina, a quiet, soft-spoken nurse who'd been assigned to his care, came into the room as usual. She adjusted his IV, wiped his forehead, then sat down beside him. "Mr. Devereux," she whispered, "I know you can't hear me, but I need to tell you something." Marcus's heart pounded. "You saved my son's life," she said, her voice trembling. 2 years ago, you paid for his surgery anonymously. I never told anyone. I figured out it was you." Marcus remembered. The boy had a rare heart condition, and he'd helped quietly after reading a news article. He never expected recognition. "I kept my distance on purpose," she continued, "because I didn't want to be one more person asking for something. But now, just in case you don't wake up, I need you to know that you changed our lives. You saved him. And if I ever get the chance, I want to return that kindness. Somehow." She stood up, gently squeezed his hand, and left. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. Tears gathered in the corners of his eyes. After nearly 2 weeks of betrayal, scheming, and disappointment, her quiet words cracked something open inside him. He didn't need spies or secrets. He needed truth. The next morning, he opened his eyes. Chaos erupted. Doctors ran in. Family cried. But he wasn't looking for them. He waited until the crowd cleared, then asked for Nina. When she entered the room, shocked to see him awake, he smiled faintly. "I heard everything," he said, "and I want to talk." And that was the beginning, not just of his return to life, but of something far more real than he'd ever known. Would you like a version of this as a screenplay? Too, the truth comes to light. Nina froze when Marcus spoke. Her heart raced, part disbelief, part panic. "You heard me?" she whispered. "I did," Marcus said softly. "Every word. And I'm glad I did." She stepped closer, unsure of what to say. Marcus gestured for her to sit. "I've been listening to people for 2 weeks," he continued. "Most of what I heard was greed, lies, and betrayal. But you reminded me there's still good out there." "I needed that." Nina swallowed hard. "I didn't mean to." "You don't have to explain," Marcus interrupted gently. "You were the only honest voice in a room full of liars." He paused. "Now I need your help, Nina. I don't want to just come back and pretend nothing happened. I want to confront the truth and the people who tried to profit off my death. I want to reset everything. Clean house." Nina blinked. "You want me to help you with that?" "I trust you. That's rare for me," Marcus said, "and I think you know how to tell who's real." Reluctantly, she agreed. Over the next few days, Marcus recovered slowly in public view while secretly reviewing recordings from the hospital room. He had discreet audio devices placed for this exact reason. Nina helped him cross-reference visitors with documents and calls. Together, they uncovered a web of betrayal involving his COO, his fiancée, and even his own brother, who were already planning to declare Marcus mentally unfit and take control of his companies. The night before Marcus was to go public with his return, he and Nina sat in the hospital garden under a darkening sky. "Why are you really doing this?" Nina asked. "Not the business part, the emotional part, letting people go, starting fresh." He looked at her, his voice low. "Because I've spent my whole life building walls, watching people through glass. But you broke through that. Not by asking anything, but by simply being kind when you thought no one was listening." Nina was quiet, touched, and for the first time in a long time, Marcus felt something he hadn't felt in years: peace. The next day, the world would learn that Marcus Devereux had returned, and he wasn't just coming back to claim his empire. He was coming back to change it. "Would you like a new legacy?" The press conference was held on a clear Thursday morning. Cameras flashed as Marcus Deveria, alive and fully alert, walked onto the stage of his company's headquarters, stunning the public and blindsiding his enemies. He took a long pause before speaking. "I faked my coma," he said without flinching. Gasps echoed in the room. "Because I needed to see the truth about the people closest to me, and I saw everything I needed to see." Then, calmly and methodically, Marcus laid out the betrayals. Audio clips, legal documents, video surveillance, everything. The COO, his fiancée, his brother, each implicated. By the time he was done, security had quietly escorted several of them off the premises. "I'm not here for revenge," Marcus said. "I'm here for restoration. And that starts with rebuilding the foundation, with people who still believe in honesty, compassion, and purpose." Later that day, he announced a new initiative, the Devereux Foundation, a philanthropic wing dedicated to supporting single-parent families, medical debt relief, and community education. Its director, Nina Carter. At first, she hesitated to accept. "I'm a nurse, not an executive," she told Marcus. "Then be the kind of executive the world needs," he replied. "Lead with the same heart you showed when you thought no one was watching." Their partnership quickly deepened, not just professionally, but personally. Over time, their trust blossomed into something more, though neither rushed it. A year later, Marcus stood in front of a modest crowd at the opening of a new pediatric clinic funded entirely by the foundation. When he took the mic, he smiled at Nina, standing in the front row. "I once believed that power meant never needing anyone. I was wrong. Real power is knowing who to trust and daring to love again." The applause was warm, but the moment that mattered most wasn't public. It came quietly, later that night, when Marcus turned to Nina and simply said, "Thank you for waking me up, in every way." She took his hand and smiled. "You saved my son. I just returned the favor." And together, they began the next chapter. Not as billionaire and nurse, but as two people who finally found what neither of them knew they were missing. Would you like after the calm? Though Marcus and Nina found peace, the aftermath of his reveal wasn't without consequences. The media stormed. Some hailed him a genius, others called him manipulative, unethical, even dangerous. Lawsuits emerged from former partners claiming emotional damages and contractual breaches. The SEC briefly opened an inquiry. Investors were nervous, but Marcus had anticipated most of it. He leaned into transparency, gave interviews, and used the chaos to highlight his deeper message. Trust and integrity are more valuable than profit. Nina, however, wasn't used to the spotlight. She received messages daily, some grateful, others cruel. Paparazzi followed her to the clinic. Parents began asking for selfies more than checkups. She felt like she was living someone else's life. One night, after a long charity gala, she confronted Marcus on the balcony of their hotel suite. "I never asked for this," she said, her voice tight. "I'm not sure I want to be the symbol people keep turning me into." Marcus listened. "You don't have to be anything but yourself. The foundation can run without you at the front. Take a step back if you need to. I'll support whatever you decide." She looked at him, surprised. "You'd let me go?" "I'd never hold on to someone out of fear," he replied. "But I will fight to keep someone I love, if they still want to stay." The word love hung in the air like a held breath. It was the first time he'd said it. Not in a whisper, not while hiding. Nina blinked back emotion, stepped closer, and took his hand. "Then stop fighting alone. This new chapter of their lives wasn't perfect, but it was real. They learned to navigate storms together." Marcus rebuilt not only his company, but his understanding of what legacy meant. Nina returned to medicine part-time and mentored young women from underserved communities. And through it all, they built a home, not a mansion, but a space filled with honesty, second chances, and slow, steady love. Would you like me to continue this into a full novella or serialize it into episodes?